Hi guys, it's lycheepunnet, and today we're doing a bit of a rundown on one of the two new extra boosters that's come out, Nisekoi 2, and I'm joined by, as always, wkim, and today we also have Teru. You guys can say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, indeed. We're just going to jump straight in. I think well, the word on the street or the word in everybody's minds about this set is that it kind of sucks. It's not very mu There's not really much for the meta Nisekoi deck. There are a couple cards, but we'll cover them later. But it does introduce a couple new archetypes, and it really improves one of the old, underappreciated archetypes, which is I guess, the weapon RS deck, or the gummy deck, as I call it. So we'll talk about those cards when we get to them. You guys good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. So first card. This is actually one of the ones which the meta Nisekoi deck can consider running. It's a Gorilla, Peerless Gorilla. It's a 1/02K. It's yellow, which is a color that I think the meta Nisekoi deck runs. I know people disagree. Some people say green is better. Some people say just straight red blue, but I think yellow is in the meta deck. So when you place the hand to stage, from hand to stage, you check the top two cards, add one to your hand, drop the other, and then discard a card. So it's a +0. You have to discard a card, and you only get one card from your top two, but you can get any card from the top two. It doesn't have to be a character or anything. And the second bit is when it attacks, you get to pump a level 2 or higher character. In Mesanisekoi's case, it'll almost definitely be a level 3. And that character gets 1k for the turn. So thoughts?
I don't really see a spot for this in the deck. I mean, functionally speaking, the plus effect is nice. It makes it an
It's
effective
not a
cantrip.
plus.
It's a
It's
cantrip.
not a plus. It's a uh
It replaces
yes.
herself. So,
But you also have to discard one.
oh, you do have to discard one. Never mind. This is
It's
minus.
not a
So it says
cantrip.
hand fixing.
She'd be
Yeah.
crazy if she can't trip, I
I know,
think.
right? Level. Anyways, sorry, I'm misreading that. Okay, so you do minus a bit, but hand fixing is always good anyways. It doesn't really matter there.
It's improved hand fixing. Like most effects of this sort are draw one, drop one.
This is basically like pretending to scry in Magic. Hey, you can pretend you have ponder or
Yeah, more or less.
whatever. But the thing is
Ponder's
about
good
the
though.
it's not ponder though. It's worse. It's preordained.
Preordain's good though. It's a 4 of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways, the problem is as far as the power gain is concerned, like I don't really see a reason for that effect here.
I
Considering
think
that
it's fine.
most meta Nisekoi decks right now have made a shift to running the 1/0 Gorilla that Global 5 Frontal Flight with Recollection.
That's a thing. I haven't seen a single one over here.
Oh, that
I've
is that is a
uh,
thing over here.
Yeah,
I've
no, I
seen
haven't
it.
seen that.
I've played a deck with it. I really didn't know what to do with that.
It's like the poor man's version of the Natsuyo Chitoge, or the Onodera and Chitoge, but I think that's worse because it doesn't color fix. Yeah, it's a worse version of Summer something Chitoge. I've forgotten the name.
Yeah,
Like I can see playing it because you're going to play red at level 1 anyway, but I personally probably wouldn't bother because the only card that really benefits from having the buff on the opponent's turn is the 1/0 yellow 6/5.
at level one, yeah, but it's also just that it's still a big power pusher. I don't know. It's just for me. I don't really see a place for this
Nisekoi's not really
card.
about the power.
It's
It's
not.
about it's about the incidental power. Like that's why you run the yellow. It's pretty big without trying, and it doesn't cost you stock.
Yeah, the 1065 is pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Nisekoi is about the value and ramping up to Marika. I don't think the power is super relevant. I just think that the fact you can look at the top two, get your gates, and then play your gates and probably salvage something, that's really good. Or it has the other mode where you get to pump a Marika or pump an Onodera, get it out of counter range, and kill something you otherwise might not have killed. Plus, it's really weak, so if you just ram it, then it can't be clock kicked or reversed.
Yeah, those are all relevant. I don't know. I still don't like personally see a reason to necessarily push for this very hard though.
I think it's fine, but yeah, each to their own. I don't know. I don't actually know if I would play it in that deck. The other deck it's really good in is the weapon daughter or weapon heiress or whatever, the Tsukumi deck. So basically you play it down, find your +2 soul, and then go off because that deck runs a level 1 combo too.
Yeah, the +2 soul combo is actually quite brutal.
Yeah.
It's really, really good. It does cost a bit of stock though, so this can get a little heavy, but that does help. That does help get that combo, which I think is a pivotal part of the deck. Really, really good card, and this is a really good supplement to that.
Sure, I think it's a lot better in the yellow-green deck.
Yeah, that deck is really pressed for room as is, whereas Meta Nisekoi can fit one or two of these in pretty easily, I feel.
I mean, if you're running it as like a low count tech, then that's still fine. I mean, in that
It's
case,
bet
you're largely using it to find your climaxes because you can basically find everything else anyways through.
It's also a hand filter, which is something that the Tsukumi deck didn't really have before,
Yeah,
but
that's good
now it
for the
does
weapon
get.
Aris deck, but it's like that effect is like entirely meaningless in the actual meta Nisekoi deck because that
Yeah,
deck
I
can
wouldn't
drop
call it
cards as much as it
meaningless.
wants.
Wouldn't call it meaningless, but you can like play a heavier level one now and not have to run the red pendant. Well, I don't. I kind of like the red pendant, but I kind of don't like it. I don't know.
I don't know. I think the red pendant's still better for hand fixing.
Yeah, this is a hard card to evaluate. I think it's fine, but I don't think you'd ever run more than one or two with that in any deck, really.
I'm inclined to agree. I don't think the card is like terrible. It's just I don't think it does anything better than. I don't think it does enough necessarily.
Oh, I think it does plenty. It's just, uh, yeah, I don't know. I think this fits into my standard deck, so I can put it there.
Of course it does.
Of course.
Got to hunt for those Ogawas, man. So I guess next card.
Yep.
Gorilla Pajama Party. So if you've got four or more other weapon or daughter traits, this gets -1 level, so it's a 2/2. It's only 9k base, but for each of your other characters with weapon or RS trait, it gains 500 power. So it's basically going to be 11k. And if you know the weapon deck, you'll know it's probably going to be 11.5 or 12k.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot bigger.
Yeah, and then the last bit, possibly my favorite bit on the card, is when this is front attacks, look at the top card of your library, put it either on top or discard it.
This is a really
yeah.
good card.
Yeah, I reckon that the strongest play you'll ever have in the Tsugumi deck is
Yeah.
just basically chucking three of these down.
One of the downsides for the weapon Eris deck is that at level 2 you generally run the clock kicker.
Oh, you don't have to run it anymore. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it is still
I
your
prefer
best
this to
answer.
the clock kicker, and then you can just run the playset of Shitoges also at level 3, or like 3
Oh,
of
well,
them.
the Weapon Eris deck before, it didn't run any level 2s per se. It just ran, like, let's be real, no one ran the Tsugumi change because that card is garbage.
But some people did run the 2-1, 2-2 clock kicker.
No, I ran that, but that wasn't my level 2 de facto play. That was just like, because you have to reverse level 2 or higher, I
Yeah,
believe.
which is a
So,
little bit frustrating.
it's annoying, but you do get kind of big. That was more a level 3 play for me. All I did was run the 1-1s, that 1-1s and 1-0s and back it up with the 2-1 support. So that's obviously going to change now.
Yeah, I think this card is really good though.
Yeah. I think it's good as an advanced summon, just have one on the field. If it gets anti-changed, whatever. They spent 3 stock and you spent not much stock. If it does survive, it is a scry and it's really fat. Really good gorilla. I'm
also,
behind
like,
this card.
The freest, like, under level condition.
I just
It
don't
is, yeah.
understand why they print more cards with that condition. Like, it doesn't seem fair to me.
That's only because we're used to running fair decks, which have to work for their advanced summons.
That's true.
But to everyone who started in the past year, this is a privilege that they're used to. Check
Yeah.
your use that privilege, guys.
My bad. I'll just have
Next.
to deal with the climax phase changes I run.
Next card, I guess.
Magical Gorilla Chan. Yeah, I like this card. It's a 0/500 power bond. RS key trade as usual. When you place from hand to stage, mill 3, so not like brainstorm or anything, just mill 3. And you get to bond the cat Tsugumiya. I'm never going to say that again.
We'll get to that
Yeah.
in a bit.
It's a 1-cost bond to a 1/0 character. The 1/0 character is pretty good. I wouldn't call it like the centerpiece of the deck. Like when I first saw it, I was really hyped, but after thinking about it a little more, I was like, whatever. But we'll get to it. So this is a serviceable bond that you're definitely going to run because you're definitely going to run some of the Katsugumi. Because that art is great, man.
I think the Sugumi Cat's also just good in general for this particular deck. It lets you not run the other 1-0 clock encore that you had before.
You had a 1-0 clock on call?
Did it? Or was it 1-1?
No,
It was the
no.
Shitoge with the gun. Or Sugumi with
You
a
mean the
gun.
Sugumi? That's a
I
hand
thought
on
that was a
call.
hand encore.
Oh, okay,
It's a
well, now
hand.
you have a clock encore. Even better.
Actually, that card is still it still has a roll because it reaches 8k unboosted, whereas Sugu Meow whatever is only 7k.
Yeah, 7K with a pump.
Yeah, so I would still run one of the 1-1 myself, but that's just me. The Sugu Meow thing is you can run it in like a 2 or 3 of, and it will do lots and lots of good.
Yeah.
Really good card.
Also being
Yeah,
bondable is always nice.
yeah, we'll get to the actual card in a bit, but yeah, this is a serviceable bond, so run maybe 2 or something. Also, another thing is the old deck ran one of two bond combos. One was the bonds to the common 1-1 counter, but since we have a better counter now, we're kind of getting rid of that, and this can fill its place. Or you could have run the bond to the 2-2 Chitoge changer if you ran the 3-2 that it changed into, but I didn't personally, so yeah, this is a good bond engine for the deck in addition to just being to the bond target being good.
Yep. Moving right along. We got Raku.
Uh, Useless. Move on. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
It's a global key support, which is a thing. It's
They
second.
basically reprinted the Raku from the main set.
Oh yeah, this is
give
this
him
is
hand
definitely
encore.
exactly the same. Like you discard cards with both of the secondary effects, right?
Exactly. You totally can discard cards for the secondary effect in the
Yeah.
card. Yeah, no, it's basically the same card. It's just not worth running.
Wait a
Yeah, but you
second.
can
Are
run
you
this one
referring to?
with pendants.
I'm referring to the Pendant Salvager because they're function. It's a
Uh,
functional reprint now that you can't run the Pendant Salvager and
oh
Pendants.
yeah, of course. Yeah. But oh, yeah, this is a global support you can run with pendants because we all know that we only ran the old Raku because it was a global support, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
Next,
I wouldn't touch this card, but that's me and you are you.
dun, dun, dun.
Next card is Gorilla, New Life. Oh, New Life is
What?
such a terrible
What?
translation of this card. This is a very Gorilla-esque climax combo. When you play
No, it's on attack.
when you attack with the wind climax in the climax zone, you get to boot another character off your stage, and if you do, this card gains 6k power.
So it's a
Uh,
12k body after the climax.
Yes,
so this is
yes,
like soundless voice counterplay, right?
yeah.
Exactly. It
This
gets
is,
you right over that 10-5 body on your turn that Soundless Voice has.
and not only that, it's also with a wind trigger, so you can trigger a wind trigger and bounce a soundless voice in a different row.
I mean, like, you're probably fronting in another lane that can't beat the Len, so you'll just
Yeah,
sack the reversed character.
all that value, man. I, I
Combos bad.
I swear to God, no. This card is really terrible. In case you hadn't noticed all of our sarcasm, it's a -1, -2. Sorry, it's a -2 for a Soul Rush, and like the immediate thing I think of when I see this card is the Railgun to Saturn, the baseball bat girl, who goes up to like an enormous amount of power as well. That card was only moderately playable because it got over level threes, whereas I doubt this will ever get over a modern level three. Or it
Yeah.
might. If it does, it's because they let you do it. It's not like you get to. Well, I can't do anything against your 12k level one. I guess you get to kill my character. It's not like that. Like you can get a counter so easily these days. So I don't think this card has much of a role at all.
I agree. It's not good.
What this does do
Seems to
is
be a theme.
it beats over like Terraformers and Rider.deck, and I know YouTube run those decks, so you're,
Yeah,
you're
but
clearly
those are clock bondable.
you're
Yeah.
clearly pushing a different agenda here. You just don't want people to run this so you can run those decks, right?
Those are clock bondable. Like, I played for the Soundless Voice. They get bigger than me, but it's like, whatever. I get them back.
Like,
Yeah.
if they put that much effort to kill one of the 1-1 riders, then I'll just play another waiver and get it back and run over the Chitoge on my turn. That's what it's like.
Like, you're talking about, like, the reason why Rider.deck and Terraformers are good is not just because you got 1/1 9k fatties. It's because they're clock bondable. They just keep coming back.
Yeah, I was just screwing with you guys, but you dismantled that very well. So, yeah, this card really sucks, and I can't really think of much reason you'd ever play it.
Look,
Unless, yeah.
I just
unless
don't
you
want
want
someone
the
to
eight
watch
bounces.
this and think this card is good.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is just not a good card.
I think this is, like, the most amount of time we put onto, like, a really bad card. Moving
Uh.
on to the next card.
Yeah, so the next card is Gorilla Great Style. I don't understand why the Japanese insist on using the word, like the katakana word style to refer to like body fitness. Like, I say fit in the British sense, where fit means like attractive.
As opposed to in shape.
She has no style.
Yeah. No, that was the last cast.
She's a monkey.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
She can be Funky Kong.
Oh, dear.
Oh god.
She can sell the guns. Anyway, I think you guys can tell I really didn't want to talk about this card because it's just not very good.
The only use it has is that it pumps Marika slightly, but ideally with Marika, you're just running over a weak land anyways, so it's, like, hardly relevant.
More or less. I don't think this is a bad card. Oh, wait, no, scratch that. I do think it's a bad card.
The
I
only
read the
thing
second
that's
ability.
really nice, actually, is that it does make your Onoderas even bigger than before.
It says only once a turn. This is one of the cards you could consider in the meta deck, but I don't think this is anywhere
that
near
second
as good
effect
as...
is garbage. Like, start up once a turn, 500 power, that's entirely useless.
We have a Onodera blue support from the first set, which does this effect so much better. And even though this is 2k versus that Onodera is 1k, I think that card is actually better. Because you're just so much bigger on defense with a counter, and that's actually really relevant.
This is true.
And the fact that you can only activate the S ability once a turn is a slap in the face.
I
So
think they stopped printing that effect. And then I remember Terraformers has it in, like, half the blue cards, and, like, wow.
Nisekoi has it as well. They have it on the other Onodera I just mentioned.
Yeah. It's not a bad card per se, it's just not, like, super relevant.
It has no role. Like, what do you do with this card?
Make Marika slightly bigger.
It was spoiled with the Pajama Party Gorilla, so it's obviously meant to be played with that, but
But Pajama Party Gorilla is...
you don't need this for that to be good.
Yeah, you don't... What? I guess if you want 13Ks, that's possible.
you mean 15k?
Well, okay, if you have two in the
Obviously.
center row, but it's like...
Why wouldn't you?
I think
All in G-Dodge.
we've spent enough time on Funky Kong, so we can move on.
Oh, it's this cancerous card.
Is this the... Oh, it's a Katsuki. It's a Katsuki, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Why is it a Katsuki? Look, I'm just going to take the time to say now that this is an extremely damaging effect to Weiss in general. This is a card which people crutch on because it's too good. Like, you can't be blamed for crutching on it. It's just that amazing. And because you do that, deck building suffers. Decisions during gameplay suffer. Like, you can literally throw one of these down on the first turn, get another one from it, do it all again, and then be fine because you just clock for the next 2 turns. It's disgusting. I'm not even saying this because I don't run sets without it and I'm jealous or anything. Like, I'm about to get this. I play Nisekoi. I still think it's terrible design. It's just a free Brainstorm, and Brainstorm's already incredibly powerful. The reason Brainstorms were balanced was because you had to use resources to use them. But now that you don't have to use resources, I don't understand. This card...
It's not a fair effect. It really isn't.
I love it.
Yeah, but you're a scumbag, so you can go over there and play with Junez.
Well, don't worry. I'm half expecting there to be like 3 of this card and 2 Lover.
Well,
Look.
that set is like all traits, so they may as well.
It's like 8 different traits. Oh my goodness.
Hey, man,
Ash is gonna have a
remember when
field day.
Remember when they
Yeah.
gave Fate 2 of these, and like Fate is
Yeah, but that's because it turned out that Master wasn't the go-to deck anymore in Fate.
You're right.
But, no, Fate is still very strong, I think. Like, the mono red deck, like, Rin and Archer in Japanese is extremely good. Like it can sustain itself very well. It has options to keep advantage even without clock encoring, and then clock encore to fall back on as well. It's really good. And Rider dot deck is obviously really strong as
By
well.
the way, that's I forgot. The Rider Akatsuki, which is the Sakura, is a 4 of in that deck because that card is one of the few ways to actually get the Twin Seer hand.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Ilya is a four of in every decent Fate deck as well. That isn't
Yeah.
Rider.
Like I
Like
mean,
if
at
you're not running
least
four Ilya, you're doing it wrong.
at least with the Ilias, like you can actually miss sometimes because your deck is like
Not
usually
really. Like
like
the Rin
70-30 Master Servant.
the Rin and Archer build is
mean-
by far a majority Rin. Like the only cards you can't get with it are the 1/0 Archer, and if you run the Archer Brainstorm, you can't get that either. But and the Shiro counter, you run that. Like literally
Shiro
everything
counter
else.
is a
Yeah.
Master though.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, so he is.
Shiro
you can
is
get
a master.
everything. You can get everything except the 106k. Whereas in like the good stuff's master deck, the majority of your cards are at least master trait, if not master servants. So you can get like everything.
You can also just if you are running the actual Master deck, is like that deck is insanity because you have like 1065 clock on chorus that are grabbable for free. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, like on that topic, like this card is good because it gets everything in its respective deck.
Yeah, this is like a build around me card.
Yeah, this card is the reason. This and another card are the reasons you run sweets at all.
Yeah.
Because it's just that good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's stupid, and this card is going to be one of the reasons why Sweets has any success whatsoever. It's definitely not going to be because of the level 3, I'll tell you that much right
The
now.
level 3 is rather unimpressive.
They're underwhelming, but this card is really good, and it means your game plan will almost always go off, and it means you don't have to run a certain bond that we'll get to, and makes me unhappy.
Moving on to the next card.
Yep. So, Haru, New Life. This is an extremely climax-dependent card. It's a 1045 with the Sweets trait, which is relevant. It does nothing unless you have the climax. If you have the bar climax in the climax zone, your opponent doesn't get to play events until the end of their next turn, i.e. no pendants for you, because that's the theme of this set.
Also relevant because it hits money counters and
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely relevant because it stops money, stops compass, stops horrible horror, any of the plus a trillion souls cards.
a lot of the funny event counters, for instance, the Attack on Titan swap counter, the
Definitely.
any
And,
big power counter. There's a lot of things it stops.
importantly, it also stops main phase events. So like DC's 2/2 heal events, or Fate's 3/3 heal, or
Early play by event.
yeah, any salvage like 2/2s or 1/1s or 1/2 salvage events.
2-1.
It shuts down a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like it's good. Don't get me wrong. This effect is good. The second ability is with the bar climax again. Pay 1 when it attacks. If you do, it gains 3k, and you get to plus from clock. So you choose a card in your clock, add it to your hand, and then clock yourself.
It's basically a less good version of the Yellow Girlfriend equivalent.
Oh, it's very, very serviceable. Like you don't have
It's comparable in the power game because you get the extra 1,000 power from the fact that it's gold bar, but you get less stock because it combos with a gold bar, or with a gold bar as opposed to stock soul. But it should be more reliable due to it being comboed with a gold bar.
what you're actually doing with the one stock is you're paying for the power, because
Yeah.
like Teru probably knows this, but Dirge Days has this combo as well with a 2k 1 soul. It also costs 1, but it's on attack, so you don't have to kill anything, I believe.
I have to look that up actually.
Fair enough.
I,
I'd
I, know,
probably
I know
don't
she
know.
doesn't gain power though, which is
Yeah.
And
Like,
if she
I
doesn't
feel
gain
like
powers,
it's-
it has to be on attack.
It's going to be 1 cost on attack.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically you're paying 1 with each of your Harus to +1 and punch something.
Yes.
Now, being on reverse has its pluses and its minuses. It's pluses because you get power, you get to inherently neg your opponent. It's minus because they can counter over you. And
Yeah.
you're only going to be a 8/5, which is
8/5
somewhat
is
big.
reasonable. With back row,
Yeah.
you could maybe be 9/9/5.
Yeah, it's somewhat big.
That's larger than most decks on defense, even with counter.
but it fails to be larger than the decks whose entire game plan is be big on defense.
Yeah, but to be fair, like those decks are built around a specific number because that is the number that beats out those plussing effects.
Yeah, I'm just saying that
Like
this card
that's
doesn't.
why the 1-0 combo from Love Live with the back row and the global 500 and the power pumps, right, which hits like 8k. That's
I
why
have
that's
no
not
idea what you're talking about.
the
He's talking about
Umis and
Brainstorm and Umi
the
clock
Aries.
being
Oh, okay.
It's like
8K and 7.5.
it's like 8k or so.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that's why like that card is not considered a wall card because it's only 8k. But once you hit 9k,
Mm.
that's the sweet spot.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out like this doesn't incidentally manage to beat those decks. It's just
It
a
just gets
bunch of
over
power.
every other.
Yeah. It kills most things that kind of wanted not to die, and it also kills the things that didn't care about dying. So
Exactly.
yeah, the
So-
card itself is okay. It's actually bondable, like one cost bond, but that bond is a bit troublesome in other. It's troublesome because it's not sweet straight. But this card is gonna be pretty central in the
In the sweet stack, you run
Sweet
4 of
stack.
it level 1. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't.
I don't even know if you run 4.
I don't know. I think this card's really sweet.
I mean, like,
It's like-
You're not. No, he's.
no, I didn't even try to do that. I just used the word sweet.
Yeah, of course, of course.
no, but it's like from the
Not
existing
pots-
level 1 sweets cards that I can think of, there's like the 1-0 clock encore Onodera.
No, that's not a thing because it gets power from
counts
key and
sports and key.
sports.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I know, right?
No,
Yeah.
no, different card. I'm talking about the green one.
There's a green one? Oh,
That one needs pendant.
Oh yeah,
So
Everything's-
neither of those are viable.
everything's
But
a
it doesn't-
tragedy.
It doesn't matter because Haru has the 1-0 America clock encore
Oh, it
version.
does? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get
Don't
to
worry
that
about
then.
that. I don't think Haru is necessarily a 4 of, but we'll have to see. It seems fine. Like it's a plussing climax combo. How bad could it be?
I think, like, honestly, losing 500 power for the second effect to just like, yeah, fuck yo events, that's totally worth it.
Yeah, I think it's. Now I think about it, I do want 4 of my plussing climax combos. So yeah, why not? Run 4. What could possibly go wrong?
You only draw those and no climaxes.
it's fine. You'll trigger them. And then, okay.
Next
More or
up
less.
is Cat Gumi.
Sugunya, it's a 1045
So cute.
with clock encore. It's cute, but then the foil version is like lewd. Good art though. So its ability is tap 2 of your weapon or Ares characters to gain 2/5 power. That makes it into a 7k, and that's really good. Now the problem with these 107ks that have been printed lately is that you can only really have one of them at a time.
Yeah, because it requires you to tap 2 weapon or Eris cards.
Yeah, or there's the ones where like you need 2 other characters to attack first for it to become 7k. Yeah, so this card is fine, but I wouldn't run more than a couple because you only ever want one.
Yeah. Ideally, honestly, even the weapon Eris deck, I think the 1-0 yellow Gumi, unless you're, yellow Shitoge, unless you've really decided that you're not going to even run the yellow pendants.
Wait, which 1-0 yellow?
The 6-5 with pendant
Oh,
memory.
I definitely wouldn't run pendants in that deck. Definitely not. Not worth it. Like, why would you when you have like Paula, who is a 1065?
Oh, I forgot Paula's a
That's
card
true.
now. We'll
Yeah,
get
like-
to that.
Even before, like, there was no reason to run pendants because that just makes your entire. Because the majority of the deck is going to be Tsugumi until like level 2, 3, and that's not when you want to be using your pendants. Plus, you don't have anything that pays you off for having pendants anyway, except the 1-0 and maybe the swimsuit gorilla. But
Swimsuit Gorilla is pretty good, though, if you can actually get a lot of pendants there.
well, now we have a
but-
3/2 advanced summon 11k.
This is true. Swimsuit's now obsolete.
Yeah,
And it seems
exactly.
incredibly greedy in that deck. For,
Exactly.
Like, no real payoff.
You're using so much of your consistency. Like I wouldn't have run it before, and I'm definitely not running it now.
But I like the clock encore, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have a
Um,
fundamental issue with, like, clock encores that are typically going to die in your opponent's turn. But
I
this
agree,
gets bigger
yeah.
than the other ones on
I mean, a
turn.
107k is, like, much bigger than what they're usually at for
For one shot clock concourse, yeah, like the Attack on Titan Eren's only 6.5 at most,
And
unboosted.
Takane is 6.5. Like, I
Mm.
just like this a lot better than those two, if only for the 500.
The
500 power
500
is a
is
big
very
deal.
relevant, especially because this deck usually runs at least one plus 500 support, if not more. So it'll be bigger than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I switched to the foil art because you brought it up.
Yeah, man, it's the better
Next
art.
up is a
So
2-1
I
counter.
I do want to mention one thing about the Tsugumi before we go. Uh, we have a Polar which taps both back row to Brainstorm. So that's another reason you don't want to run like a billion of this card.
Mm.
Yeah, just saying.
Mm-hmm. Still
All right, so move on to the sweets counter.
It's pretty generic. It's a 3-5 counter if you have sweets characters.
When I saw this card, I was just thinking Haru is ripping Junez off so bad.
So, on that subject, actually, do you guys have any insight onto why they choose, like, just making it a flat 3-5 backup versus if you control 2 or more, it's a 3-5 versus reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a whatever trait, it's a 3-5. Like, why are there 3 different effects for that?
I
And
think
why does
here
Judas get the top check?
because Junez is
The saddest life.
miserable. Yeah, it's miserable. I think this Haru is meant to be splashable. You can play it in the key deck because if you don't have an Onodera on the field, something's wrong. Oh, not necessarily actually. Like you can have
These
a
days, your level 1 game
field
is
without
actually like
Onodera.
0 Noderas.
Oh, if you're running the blue version
Yeah,
of Summer Colors Chitoge, you
but
can
if you're at
have
level
Onodera on the
2,
field.
you should have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But even
anyway,
then,
I
it's
wouldn't.
still taking the same slot as Ghost Counter.
Yeah, and Ghost Counter is too good not to run. That was my next point exactly. So yeah, this is for the sweets deck again. It's a 3-5 counter.
That's basically all it
I
does. It's because you can't
I
run
think
pendants.
this is pretty sucky because the things you want to protect at level 2 are like you're probably going to run the advanced summon Onodera with the climax combo, and that thing gives 4k on your opponent's draw phase. So
It's big.
yeah, like you're going to have massive cards, and this card is just not really necessary unless you really want to win the whole field. So yeah, it's worse than it might seem, but it's fine, I guess.
So 3-5 counter. It's not
Yeah,
like,
it's
It's a
just
good 3-5 counter. It's just not great in context.
yeah.
sure.
Next up, the level 3 Haru.
A very
This card
miserable
sucks.
Haru.
Let's go into the next.
I agree, actually. This card sucks a lot. Shoutouts to Randall Muramoto. This card sucks.
Poor Randall.
No, but seriously, let's just talk about this very briefly. It's a 3-2, 10k.
Come and play Mill
Oh,
3. If they're all sweets, you get to wave
do
your
stuff.
arms in glory that you are praising the Lord RNGesus, and if you hit 0 because you're terrible and you, for some godforsaken reason, hit 3 climaxes, you just cry.
Oh no, that's not for a godforsaken reason. If you've ever played Junez, then you've probably done it before. Like, okay, so let me just break down this card. When it comes to play, you have to mill 3, which is usually fine, but then the 3 cards have to be sweet straight if possible in order to get benefits. So this is fine in Junez because you get to try again next turn for free because you're going to have 12Ks, they're not going to die. But in this case, you only get to do it when you come to play. And the only consolation you get for having this come and play as opposed to attacking every turn is an extra 1K power as opposed to Yosuke, who, let's ignore the clock kick versus stock kick problem. If you guys are curious, it's a Yosuke uncommon in Persona 4. You can go look that up. It's not a really new effect at all.
Or you can
So
read my
when
article.
yeah, you can read his article on toptiertiers.wordpress.com.
You're plugging our own website in our own video. Oh my goodness.
Pretty filthy, hey? Okay. So when this card was first spoiled, everyone believed it to be when this card attacks.
I thought it was on
because-
attack. I heard it's like,
Yeah.
Yosuke.
Well,
That's what Yosuke did. Yeah.
The thing is about it is I think there was a magazine spoiler
Yeah, it was
that said
tiny
it was
little
on
text.
attack.
And
Yeah.
I guess people.
The spoiler going around was only got plus 2k, and
Yeah.
then and then it was on the website as this effect.
This
And
effect
this effect
is
is absolute garbage
garbage.
as comparison. Yeah,
Well, I
like
mean,
first, it's not repeatable.
maybe it's good. It's not repeatable.
Good, good points, but I'll get to that in a second. The clock kick bit, as opposed to Yosuke's stock kick, is a major leap up. But the fact of the matter is, you're very rarely going to get that clock kick. Because if you play the game like a good player, like a normal player, then you're going to have compressed fairly well. You're going to have 8 climaxes in like maybe a 35 card deck or something. And the chances of you hitting 3 Sweets characters, assuming you have nothing but Sweets characters and climaxes, I haven't done the math, but
Here, I can do
it's
the
not.
math for you right now while you continue to speak.
Go ahead, do the math. Doing it on 1, like, I guess it's possible. Doing it on 2, not likely. Doing it on 3, extremely unlikely. This is not really a clock kick. This is a spin the roulette wheel and pray it's a clock kick. It's not like the Guilty Crown shoe, which, by the way,
It's
is much
a
better
76% chance
of hitting 3 Sweets characters.
of hitting three sweets Oh, sorry, no, I messed up the math.
That seems a lot higher than I thought it would.
No, I was doing with 3 climaxes in deck, so you would have been dead for other reasons.
35 cards,
hell, man?
climaxes. That's pretty godlike.
Hey, I've seen it happen.
So yeah, this card runs counterintuitive to what a good Weiss player
Sorry,
who compressed
45% chance
of hitting 3 Sweets.
of hitting 3 Sweets, 8 climaxes in a 35 card deck.
Yeah, so that's like a normal deck. Maybe even not that compressed. Like you can easily get it down to 25 with 8 climaxes. This is a fairly uncompressed deck, and you still have below 50% odds.
Yeah, you're talking about a 50-50 to finish your opponent.
And
Yeah,
then,
like
you can't field multiples reliably because of that too.
Yeah.
let's say you do mill 6 Sweets characters. What do you think you're gonna trigger now?
Your bars, and then your bars are gonna tuck more climaxes.
Exactly. Like, this card runs counterintuitive to Weiss. Like, Yosuke is like, whatever, I'm just going to mill my entire deck every turn because I'm a baller, because that's Junez's thing. It doesn't have finishes, so it has to mill its entire deck and just pray. But this card
Junez
is like,
also doesn't compress well, so you end up getting 3 Junez characters a lot.
I don't know, I've had 15 stock games of Junez.
I'm sure you've had 15 stock games, but how
I've
many
also
games
had
have you
the
had
zero
with like
stock games, too.
4?
Yeah, I've also had like the 0 stock games or the games where I'm like, no stock because I want my 2-1s to be fat.
Exactly. That's like every
Yeah.
game.
But
Pretty much.
yeah, this card is a tragedy. If it was every
Um,
turn, it would be like, yes, you should definitely run 4 in the sweet stack. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, see, you're probably going to run 4 of this in the Sweets deck anyway, because what else are you going to run? But
You're
the fact
probably making the sweet stack 4 hard. Like, let's be honest.
This is true.
like, assuming you go out of your way to make this as likely as possible, you're still only around 50% odds. And like there even like IMAS Mickey, like that card,
That card is also a
think I
50-50 to burn 1.
it's 50-50 with like no special measures taken. But at least with that card, you can like play the masterpiece combo and you can raise the odds a lot. Whereas with this card, you can't really do anything. Like if you want to use a Akatsuki, then you're just going to go through the deck, and that's fewer chances you get to compress. It's just I can't recommend this card. Sorry, Randall.
Yeah, that's basically it. You have to run 4 in the sweet stack because there's not really much better cards to run in the sweet stack at level 3, but
Like spin the wheel.
like
Like Weiss is a big wheel. This is just
you're just
a
putting
small-
another wheel in your wheel.
Yeah, it's like spinning a wheel of fortune, and then the thing it lands on is a smaller wheel
You
where
have to spend that too.
exactly, yeah, it's like that. And I know Weiss is already a bit like that, but this emphasizes it to a point where I'm just not a big fan of this card. I'm still gonna
Yeah.
run it. It's just not gonna be great.
Just like give it another week or so. Someone on
Yeah.
Florence gonna post a battle. Someone milled 9 against them.
Yeah, well,
And then they just lost, and then there's gonna be this random sweets hype.
have you read Foreign? Have you not read the hype about 2-1 Kirito restanding 17 times?
How do you even restand 17 times? Like,
I can go through it if you want, but I feel like we can make better use of this time.
okay, but I just thought when you revealed, you would add him to your stock. So is there a way to
You
pay out
do,
that
but-
stock?
Yes, there's a zero. Look, let's move on to the next card, okay?
I'm sorry.
Okay, next
Don't be
up
sorry. We'll talk about it later.
is
Seishiro New Life. So this is the Sugumi card. It's a 500 power assist. One cost tap to choose a card, green card in your clock, including climaxes, if you decide to clock one for whatever reason, and return it to your hand, and choose a card in your hand, put it in clock. So the Gummy deck already has decent level 0 assists, so it's got one which swaps the first card of your opponent's stock with a card from their waiting room, which is fine. That's what you ran, and you'll probably run this in its place now, even though that card is funny. It's also notable that this card lets you pick the card first instead of taking damage first, meaning that even if you're on 0-6 or 1-6 or whatever, you can still use it.
yeah. It's only hand fixing though because you do have to put a card back.
Yeah, but you can like get a card back, put a climax in, and then that's a discard out for the deck if you.
Yeah, functionally, if you can level up really shortly afterwards.
Yeah, so I think
If
this is
you're
a
at
pretty.
0, you should be fine.
Yeah,
Like for leveling up.
I reckon. But yeah, this card is serviceable. Nothing to get hyped about.
Alrighty, next up, the problematic
So,
bond card.
so we've got Fu. This is a camera trait card. So it doesn't have the Sweets trait, but it bonds to a Sweets character.
It also is a
And you
drop
search.
searcher for its character.
It's a one cost drop a card from hand to search for a Sweets character. This is fine. Like in any average deck, it would be alright. But in a deck that wants to mill 3 Sweets characters late game, if you run this, I can guarantee that at some point it's going to show up and you're going to want to rip it apart because you just revealed another 2 Sweets characters. And had you been running a different level 0 Sweets character, you would have just milled 3 Sweets characters.
I was like really upset when I was just playing Yukiko that deck, and there's a. It wasn't my deck, I was borrowing it, and there's a one of Aegis 2-1 counter, and I revealed that.
I believe that in that deck, the one of Aegis 2-1 counter is really good, but I can sympathize with that.
Like, it's a one of. I also proceeded to hit 2 gates, but, I was really sad that day.
Oh, the reason the card is good is because if your last trigger is a gate, you can get the costed counter back.
Yes.
And there is no Yukata trait counter, even though there are 2 characters in Persona wearing Yukatas on counters.
This is true.
You can look it up. There's a 1-1 Yukari from the first set, and the foil version of the animation Aika is wearing a Yukata.
Anyways, drop searcher is good, but it's gonna cause problems with the other Haru.
It's good, but it's problematic in deck building. That's the only issue.
It also, it's not a huge problem, but it's also like not fetchable itself by any means.
You can't also get it. You can't get it with a Katsuki, is what you're trying to say.
Basically,
Which is a big problem because there is a better bond that you can get with a Katsuki. Although I believe that the card that you can bond with this is a more desirable one than the other bond,
Yes.
which we'll get to later.
next up is a very funny card.
This does not counter Nisekoi at all.
Nope.
Alright, anyway, this is a Global Suites 500 power, and that's mostly what it's going to be. The other ability is, for every pendant in your opponent's memory, this card gives an extra 500 to all of your Suites characters. So, like, you can have your opponent with 3 pendants in memory for whatever reason, and this becomes a global 2k counter for your 2k
power.
support.
Yep.
Yeah, for your entire field.
Woo!
This sounds great, but I'll put this in perspective for you. Saying that this counters Nisekoi is like saying King of Fighters counters Tulavru because they have so many traits.
Dude, that 14k
What do you
Ash.
mean King of Fighters doesn't counter to Love Through? I don't understand.
That 14k
King of
Ash,
Fighters
though.
counters everything, except like girlfriend beta, because then Ash just gets the girl trait 5 times.
You can't beat up girls.
Hey, hey,
But
hey.
he
what,
becomes a girl, so
what,
he
i-
can't.
what is your Ash gonna do against my Roach deck? There's only one trait.
What's the trait?
Insect.
Oh, that's nice.
Wait, does that mean Tomodek counters Ash?
Sorta, yeah.
Sort of, but like whatever. Well, no, not anymore. You don't have to run that level 3 anymore.
Most of the Toma deck will run like some magic and book trait stuff.
It'll also run sometimes the 1-0 Mikoto Bond, which is ESP, and Frog.
I do run that card actually, yeah.
I do as
Woman
well.
deck beats King of Fighters, because King of Fighters doesn't really get over like 6K. One.
My God, yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, my point is that a lot of people hyping this up as a Nisekoi counter. I disagree because one, this does not blank Marika. Like, yeah,
No.
sure, you're getting some power, but Marika can still very easily get to like 15, 20K if the Nisekoi player so wills it. I know it's possible. I've done it. It's not difficult.
I think it just comes down to it's like if you're expecting this to beat Nisekoi, well then you have to also make sure your deck gets far enough in the tournament to fight Nisekoi.
And you're running a Nisekoi Sweets deck, which means your card pool sucks.
So it's like you're
So
already playing with like a substandard deck as far as from a competitive standpoint, and the idea that you're going to be consistent enough to fight Nisekoi in top tables and counter them there with a global 2000 power card is very amusing.
Yeah, like Nisekoi was never all about the power anyway, except with Marika and to a lesser degree 3-2 Onodera, which I agree does get beaten by this, but that's not why 3-2 Onodera is good.
Because it replaces itself for free.
Pro tip, if you want to beat Nisekoi with the Sweets deck, just chain the 1-0-0 Haru bar combo over and
and
over.
over again.
Yeah, so they can't get their pendants
They
played.
can't. They can't even use Marika anymore.
Yeah, that is the much. Well, they can restand with her if they've got a field, but
Which, I guess.
yeah, that is a much better way to counter
It's also-
Nisekoi than relying on this.
It's also very amusing how this is like some counter synergy in the deck, where it's like, yeah, they can get pendants and get bigger, but they also just can't play pendants.
Exactly.
so
I would run this as a global support though.
yeah,
Sure.
It's a really
But
good
this is-
global support.
this is probably just me being me, but this is the kind of card I expect to see if I were to go on to Heart of the Cards for like WGP results or something. Just to see like a Nisekoi Sweets deck that topped and have the player put this as their key card.
I'm very strongly considering playing one of this in my key deck, and like
Just for the Nisekoi mirror?
yes, I'm not going to play Nisekoi well at WGP anyway, so it's a moot point. But I could see this being
Oh,
teched into actual key decks.
You have a better
Um,
deck for that.
Do I really though? Nisekoi is really good.
This is true. I know. If I went to a WGP, I like have no top tier decks to really bring with me.
Play
You'll
Gig
be fine.
Play Kick Out Shooter, I got this.
cost
It's not a
one.
bad card.
Incapable of searching my deck. Can't shuffle. If I get bottom decked, I'm the saddest boy.
All right, so it's important to know that if you do want to run this in Nisekoi, you're basically going to have to twist it around Onodera, which is a thing in its own right. I probably wouldn't, because the only ways to get this in that deck are through Gates and through the Marika Climax combo. And I don't believe Straight Red
Wait.
Blue is very good.
I think the Marika Climax combo is itself is a key character.
No, it's salvage any character.
Oh, so nice.
It is, but
Okay.
not with this card because that's
No.
not a Sweets character.
No.
Anyway,
Sure.
we've spent enough time on this card. It's serviceable. It's not a counter to Nisekoi.
Next up is a plussing Brainstormer for Weapon and Daughter. You
Yep.
run a lot of
It's
this in your deck
Cole and
because it's a
McCoy.
Brainstormer.
I don't know about running a lot because I think the
I
Gorilla
say-
Brainstorm's really good.
2-1 or 2-2.
Yeah, I might even go up to 4 total, but I don't know what the ratios would be like.
I'm tempted to do
yeah.
2-2, but that's just me.
This is not absolutely necessary. Gummy deck already has a good plussing climax combo. Well,
Yeah.
pseudo plussing because you need 2 of them, but that's easy enough.
Yep.
Plus, it has a decent bond to the Cat Gumi, and it has field presence too to some degree. So this is
Yes.
nice, but not really that necessary, in my opinion.
Next up is a generic 2K counter for Weapon and Daughter. Very
Another
straightforward.
really good card. We've got 6/5s, we've got 6Ks, we've got back row support, and now we have an oversized costless counter. So with this, you can start playing for a pseudo compression game against weaker decks.
Next up, yeah, none of these cards are particularly interesting, so we're not spending a lot of time on them. A 1065 Clock Encore if you manage to attack with 2 of the Sweets characters.
So it's not 1065, it's 1045, because that's how big it's probably going to be on the opponent's turn, sans any supports.
Yep.
So basically, it's getting run over every turn.
Yep.
But when another Sweets character attacks, yes, it gets 1k. So if it's the last attacker, it's 6/5 costless, which
You
is
don't
fine.
necessarily want to have more than one on the field, though.
Correct. You don't want more than one because otherwise it's a 5/5 clock encore, which is serviceable. But if you've ever played Log Horizon, you'll have very rapidly realized that having a 1/1 6k clock encore is actually better.
Next up is another Paula.
It's 5/5, I thought.
Shiroe is 5/5.
Sure, it was 5/5.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, whereas
context.
Akatsuki is 6k. Anyway, this
Next
one
up
is
is
the
a
card I was talking about. It's Paula, which is
6/5
she's
Paula.
she's a 4/5, but she's 500 for every other weapon or ARS trait. Including ARS is really nice, I think, but it makes sense because she's
Yeah.
like Beehive or whatever. So she's a 6/5. This is the card that started it all, caused people to say Love Live should get banned. I thought those people were insane, but this is a very serviceable 6/5 power card.
Yes.
Yeah. Be like
Next up,
quite
we got
list
the police.
if a card like that was put on the restricted list.
That would blow my mind.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if something like that, unless it was like the girlfriend beta 1/1 that gets up to 8k unbombable. Like something like that is annoying, but I still don't think it's worth it.
That's frustrating because
It's
it's
frustrating, but
also
you can just
clock
you can just
bondable.
side. Yeah, just side over it, do lots of damage, and it loses its worth eventually.
Next up is police. We got to red.
All right, so Magical Police Marika-chan. That's terrible grammar. It makes me want to.
Anyways, it's a come and play, pay to salvage a police character, which is any character with Marika, and it's a level 0 reverser.
Now, if Nisekoi had any other bomb that wasn't a freaking runner, then yeah, this would be an auto include. But because they have a freaking runner, this is like.
No go.
I don't think it's a no-go. I think it's fine, but I really don't think Nisekoi needs the 2 cost plus at all.
I agree.
Yeah, never mind. I probably wouldn't run it simply because Nisekoi doesn't need it. It's a fine card.
Next up is actually a reason to run Raku in your key deck. It's a 1065 Marika.
I like how this is only ever going to be played in like a Marika waifu deck, and
With
But
the
Who's
Raku.
gonna run those anymore?
Who's gonna
Well,
run those anymore? That's true.
there are people with shitty taste, so they'll continue running their mono Maricas.
That's all there is for that card. Next up
Yeah.
is the 2-1 Marika New Life, because New Life is apparently the word they like using this time. It's a level
It's
2
new
reverser.
school life. It's new school life. I know it says life there, but what it means is life as in because that kanji is used in the term for students as well.
I see. I don't read Japanese, so
I read Chinese. I don't read Japanese.
wonderful.
Like it literally translates to new life, yes, but it's implying student life. And
So like a new semester type deal?
yes, pretty much, because that's exactly what it is. It's a new year.
Wonderful.
Anyway, this is a level 2 bomb. Cute, I guess. And 1 cost to add the ability to top deck your battle opponents.
I don't like level 2 bombs.
I am indifferent to level 2 bombs. They can be really good. They can be incredibly worthless.
The problem with level 2 bombs is they tend to cost stock.
Stock, yeah, that is definitely a thing. And also, they rarely have good targets.
Yep. The bottom decking is very fun though. Or
It's not
top
bottom
decking.
decking,
Top
it's top
decking.
decking,
Top
which is
decking is very
definitely
fun.
good. Top decking is definitely good.
It being 5k makes it like kind of awkward when you're also trying to use like, for instance, bombs on level 1s.
There's also I remember there's a climax combo that does a similar thing, but gets to an absurd size as well. Like it's a 2/1, like 2175 or something. Come and play, get a bunch of power, and then with the stock soul, you get to pay 1, and then you can pump that character by an obscene amount of power, and it becomes like a 16k that top decks. I'm not joking. Like it actually goes up to that sort of power.
sounds
It's like
super
plus,
fun.
plus 6k or something stupid like that.
She'll
but
gain 2k and then she gains 5/5.
yeah. So it's like a
It's awesome.
15/5. Yeah, it's actually
Oh
not a
my
bad
goodness,
card.
that's insanity.
I think I actually wrote about it. But yeah, it's really good. Better than this card, I think, because that card can kill level 3s. This card is like sad.
Well, yep, that's all there is to say about this one.
Well, no, if you want to like pay 1 after playing it to kill like a level 0 and top deck it, that's also an option.
I guess.
And at least this doesn't need a climax combo, but I think it sucks.
I don't like it.
Neither do I.
Next up is a functionally
We're into,
less good Umi.
yeah, we're into blue. It is almost exactly a functionally worse Umi. Haru, mascot, 103k, so it's a 1/0 support. Gives 500 in front and brainstorm, 1 cost, tap 2. Every climax hit you get to search for 1 sweets character. So it's a plussing brainstorm that makes you tap 2 for sweets trait only.
Yep, that's basically all it does.
I kind of feel you don't even need this because you're gonna have the Akatsuki and you're gonna have bonds to this brainstorm, I suppose. So pluses on pluses.
Yep.
Seems okay, I guess. You're gonna run like
Put 2 in
3.
my deck,
I'm gonna run 3 because I definitely want this in back row in case I need to brainstorm.
but it's sweets, so it's super easy to grab.
Yeah, that's true, but I also want it as a bond target.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, next card is Haru, new students.
It's also a
the
6/5.
Yeah, it's a blue 6/5. Kind of annoying because every other good 1/0 sweets trait that's Haru is a green card. But
Yep.
what can you do? Like, it's fine. You can probably get both colors without any problem.
Next up is
Magical Patricia, Kosaki-chan.
level
Um,
assist, climax
but-
combo to change from hand.
Yeah, like, it's not going to be a level assist for long. What it really does is you play it, you play the blue stock soul, you sack it, and then you play the level 3 Kosaki earlier.
Which is a very, very good level 3 Kosaki.
It's an extremely good card because not only does it have a really good plus 4k on your opponent's draw phase effect, it also climax combos with the card that
The stock
you
soul
just
that lets it change.
it out. Yeah,
Speaking of,
and exactly.
here it
So
is.
it's a 3/2 10k. If contract complete is in the climax zone and all your characters are sweet, notes all, so no Ruri allowed, no Fu allowed. Search your library for 1 sweets character and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. This game's 2.5k to the end of your opponent's next turn, and it may well be a 16/5 on your opponent's turn.
Yep, it's big.
Because at the beginning of your opponent's draw phase, if this is in the front row, choose a character. That character gains 4k. It's been a fairly decent mechanic. It's performed well for me. I'm not like I wouldn't say it wins games, but it definitely gets you there. It's really good.
It's a really good effect to have. Also, the fact that
Yeah.
it searches is really nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Stock Soul is just a really nice climax, especially in a deck like this, which doesn't really have a cohesive finisher plan, so it wants to really compress and give itself better odds in the late game.
Yep.
Alright, so next card, Kosaki, sisters taking bath together. When it comes from hand to stage, check the top 2 cards of your deck and put them back in the same order. So it lets you order your attacks, basically.
Yep. You just gotta figure out your triggers, and then it also bonds to the 1/0 assist.
Bonds to the 1/0 brainstorm, and if you see a climax or 2 in those top 2 cards, then you get to brainstorm immediately. So, yeah, it's cute little synergy.
It does help set up the on attack mill 3 sweets, but it only lets
It's
you
on
see
play.
2.
It's on play.
Is it on play? Oh, okay. It's on. I forgot. It is on play. It does
You
let
know
you.
it's on play. If it
I
was
do
on
know it's on
attack,
play.
we would-
It would
we
be
would not have
better.
ditched the
Sorry,
power.
it does let
We
you
would
set
not
up.
have-
It lets you set
yeah.
up 1 on play mill 3, so you get
Yeah,
to
no,
know
what-
for
what
sure
you
if you
do
have
is-
2
yeah.
sweets. So
you
now
do
you're
is
just
you
gambling
play
on
it,
the
yeah.
3rd sweets card.
You play it, and then you check top 2. If there's a climax, you brainstorm. If there's not a climax, you play your 3/2 and pray. So this makes that slightly more quote-unquote consistent. What it really does is, if you see a climax there, you get to have another shot in the dark. So that's fine, I guess. I still don't think it's very good. But yeah, this bond is really good, I think. Just as standalone.
Yeah, but you still need because you're running the Haru anyways. You basically
Mm-hmm.
need to run this card too, just to make it like not always random.
I guess.
I don't know, man. I think I just YOLO a lot with the Haru.
Just
Like,
YOLO.
I think we're
completely
going to be stuck.
honestly.
You're going to be stuck YOLOing a lot with the Haru. Like, it's not
You're-
going to be a choice. a
Yeah,
lot
you're
of the
gonna
time.
you're gonna yellow a lot of the time, but sometimes you won't have to because you had this card in your hand.
And that's a plus. Like, you can't.
Even
You
then.
can't. Yeah.
It's like, so,
It's still YOLO. You still have like the 3rd card. Is it a sweets character?
and even if you there is a climax and you brainstorm, you're just compressing your deck more.
Yeah. Unless you hit like several climaxes.
Alright, so the next card is Ruin. So it's Ruri's mouse form. When it attacks, choose another character. That character gains 1k, 1 level. Terrible traits, terrible stats, unnecessary ability. I am uninterested in this card.
I agree. Moving on.
I just want to say that Heart of the Cards mistranslated this. Just because her name is the same kanji for wind does not mean that you shouldn't just say mischievous wind or wind's mischief. Like, this was not Fu's mischief. So to whoever's watching along and reading the Heart of the Cards scans, that is incorrect. It's just the wind blowing her skirt up. The card sucks.
Yep. You generally don't want to run in front of other characters.
Yeah, that's like the opposite of what runners do. Like, yeah, sure, sometimes they only have like a clock bond or something and it's really weak and you get to run in front and make them side and save 1 damage, but that's not even good. Like, taking damage at early game is fine and even like it's even desirable for a lot of decks. Maybe not sweet stack.
Think of a situation I would want to run in front of something. It's like
So
I don't really.
if they have like a 1/5 and nothing else, you can run in front of it, and they're
Sure.
forced to side, and then you get to punch them for free, and then hopefully repeat that next turn, though they probably found a bomb or something by that point.
Yeah.
That sounds awful though.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Like a situation I want to be in is, I guess, what I want.
Yeah,
to
like
say.
I would abandon the runner plan for the sweets deck because there are 2 very serviceable 3/5 sweets characters.
Yep. Speaking of,
Yep. So the first serviceable 3/5 sweets character, this is the Haru. It's a 3/5. If you don't have a Kosaki hanging around, it can't stand during your stand phase. That's a little bit annoying, but we do have a few good Kosakis we can just kind of have lying around, such
Yep.
as the very next one.
speaking of overpower, or I
It's
guess
a-
oversized
Yeah,
cards.
oversized. So it's a
Overpower.
3/5. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a sweet straight character, put it back. No, if it's not a sweet straight character,
Put it in
put it in
clock.
clock. So basically climaxes, and if you're running the 2/1 poker face event, then that goes to clock as well. And if you're running anything that's not a sweets character, you're probably doing it wrong. So yeah, if you reveal a sweets character, you're fine. Otherwise, it goes to clock. Whatever.
Whatever. Oh, that's
Um,
not where I want to be.
Kosaki, New School Life, 1/1/7k. When it comes from hand to stage, it loses 1/5 power for the turn, and it has hand encore. So the losing 1/5 power for the turn is the way they try to balance it. That's fine. Like, you can run into an empty space or side with it or something. This card is serviceable, but I don't think it's very good.
I don't think you need it either.
Yeah, like, you probably don't need it.
I mean, you already have a 1065, so a 1/1/7k hand encore isn't that much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Next up is my least favorite general effect.
The 2/1 8k. When this attacks, if all of your characters are sweets and the level of the character opposite this is 3 or higher, this gains 3k power until the end of your opponent's turn.
Garbage.
This one's better than most.
I like
Like-
that it keeps the power.
It's like Sinon in that it keeps the power, but it's unlike the good, like, quote-unquote good 2/1 oversized killers, in that it doesn't gain soul, it doesn't gain anything really interesting. Kind of sucks.
Yep.
I mean,
And-
like I play with 2/1 11k is a lot, so maybe I just like it.
And next up is the last card for the Nisekoi set.
Ruri, New School Life. Good for your Ruri waifu decks, guys. It's a 2/1 8k. If you've got 6 or more cards in hand, it's a 9/5, which is quite overspec, to be honest.
Yes, but you're talking about quite some miracle when you're playing a deck that isn't key and having 6 or more cards in your hand at level 2.
Yeah, like it's... Yeah, I agree. And I think that's all of Nisekoi, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. This set is not good.
I agree. I pre-ordered back when they announced the set because I enjoy terrible rom-coms like this, and I regret it a lot. Unless they include the I don't know if if Army gives you the comeback campaign packs with your purchase. If they do, then that makes it a bit better. If they don't, then I'm just kind of sad.
Well, yeah, this set's a tragedy. It has very, very little to put into the key deck,
It has
And-
basically nothing.
and the Sweets deck archetype isn't very good either. So,
Literally, the best thing that came out of it is it made the weapon heiress trait deck very good.
yes.
Like if the
It's still not
Akatsuki
better
was
than
for the
Key, but
weapons,
it's still a
like,
very solid deck.
yeah, it's a very solid quote unquote budget deck because I don't think there's an expensive card in that deck except maybe the level 0 bomb runner.
Yeah, that's expensive, but that's it.
I don't even run that, and I'm fine. Like there are plenty of good oversizes. Um, yeah, no, it makes that deck a good budget option for anyone jumping into Japanese Nisekoi. Although I don't think key trade is expensive either, aside from the Onoderas.
Yeah, level 3 Onoderas are about it.
Chibies.
Good point. I forgot that the promos existed. See, I bought all these promos back when they weren't ridiculous, so I kind of take them for granted.
The Shibis are expensive now.
Can I just say,
Just the ban list not touching Nisekoi.
I don't know how to justify that, because Nisekoi had the best X0 record by a long shot.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, no, I think that like, I can understand them wanting a dominant deck, and there's a bunch of good decks dominating, which is fine. Like, I guess it's fine, but I still think that Nisekoi has a lot of terrible design in it, and that it needs to be fixed somehow.
Wait, is there still no 8-gate Nisekoi?
Yep, still no 8-gate Nisekoi, not that you'd really want 8 gates.
If I felt really greedy, maybe, I don't know.
I guess, but
I like making 8-gate decks that shouldn't be 8-gate decks.
I really like 2K1 Soul and Bounce in Nisekoi. And I think Bar is fine as well if you want to run green.
Yep.
So have we got a top 3 for this set?
They're all terrible.
They are terrible, hey?
They're all terrible. If I have to rank it, the Akatsuki is easily number 1.
Is it, though? It goes into a mediocre deck.
That's the saddest part, isn't it?
Mm,
I really like the level 3 Kozaki.
I agree. I like that card a lot, and not just because I'm a Dera fag. I actually like it.
And then there's 2 Ruri cards, right?
Yep.
Why do you like the
Those
Ruri
are-
cards?
I like Ruri. I don't care for
Oh.
cards, but I will represent and just say
But one
those
is
two.
her as a mouse, and the other one is like
The other is her second 2-1 oversize.
yes, it is. Because that's a good archetype in the current standard environment.
Yep.
I think that the level 3 gorilla is actually probably
Oh, I forgot that card even existed.
maybe the best card in the set.
No, that's
Like-
definitely the best card in the set, actually.
You
Yeah, it's
reckon?
really good for its respective deck.
Yeah, I agree as well.
That's actually
I
the
als-
best card in the set. I forgot
I-
that even existed.
I actually think that the best card for the weapon daughter trade deck is the Polar. Because
Zero?
it seems so good. Like the Polar and the 102K counter together. It lets the deck run a completely different game plan to what it had to run before, which was +2 soul and prey. It lets it run a power game plan, which is nice. And the level 3 gorilla, I think, is in a vacuum the best card, but not necessarily the best card for that particular deck.
So level 3 Gorilla is clearly not the best card because she's the cheapest SP. She is 59.80 and the other ones are 99.80 and the other ones are sold out as well.
That's because people are hype on the sweets deck because it apparently counters key trait Nisekoi.
Which it doesn't.
Completely.
Yeah, absolutely. People are bad though, so we can ignore them. I don't know if I have a second and third best card. Second best is probably the Akatsuki. Like that's the reason the Harudera deck exists at all. And the third best card is level 3 Marika, because that card is a piece of shit.
The third best card is level 3 Marka.
That's a good card. I really enjoyed it.
That's a different set.
I feel
Look,
very
it's-
clean and like I earned my win.
It's actually so good that it doesn't need to be in the set to be better than the rest of the cards in the set.
No, but it doesn't need to be in a lot of sets to be like the best card Bushiroad ever
Oh,
printed.
I don't know about the best card Bushiroad ever
The
printed. I
best
would
finisher
argue.
they've ever printed.
Oh yeah, probably best finisher. In fact, definitely best finisher. I
Like
think Ogawa is the best card they've ever printed.
the only card I can think of that competes with that like Marika's for best finisher is like maybe Karato from Gigant Shooter.
Nah, Ilya. Ilya and Haruka are also attack 4 times on printed on one card.
This is true.
So yeah.
Sure.
Sure, but it's
Um,
3-1 damage attacks and 1 regular attack,
Yeah.
as opposed to ping, full swing, ping, full swing. Oh my god.
I think that'll probably do it for the Nisekoi set review. So thanks for listening, guys, and enjoy cracking your extremely unimpressive Nisekoi boosters.
It's not a good set.
Uh, I'm still unhappy that I bought into it. Anyway, until next time.